A very good evening to you, our viewer of Church of Uganda Family TV. It's a pleasure having you tuned in right now. This is the Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. And we are excited to welcome you to our Wednesday edition where we discuss family, finances, and wealth. Now, we are still continuing with dynamics of running our family business, but you don't have to miss out on today's continuation. Remember, we introduced this topic, but we are continuing with it because we found it so vital and important. So you shouldn't miss out on today's episode. Now, just to remind you, Family Hour is on from Monday to Friday. Monday, we discuss education and career. Tuesday is always family health. Wednesday, like today, we discuss family finances and wealth. While on Thursday, it is always leadership and governance. And now Friday, we close up the week with parenting, where we have Claire Bwenje coming in. So today, we still have our own our member.
Yes.
You're most welcome, Rev Jasper.
Thank you so much.
And it's a pleasure having you.
I'm also grateful to God for allowing me to come, as usual, and good evening, listeners. Again, we are excited to be talking about family business, and I pray that you put aside even that food you are eating, so that you are able to feed now, then eat after the show.
Surely.
Yes.
But before we get into, because we are discussing family business, and as Church of Uganda, we have our Church of Uganda Family Business.
Yes, we have Church of Uganda Family TV. We have Uganda Bookshop, the oldest bookshop and the biggest. And then we have Centenary Publishing House, which prints and publishes books. We also have Namirembe Guest House, $1 million view. I mean, you just need to go there. Then we also have Nabugabo Holiday Center. This month, I know it is ending in 2 days. There was a request to launch an industrial hub that produces pads, that produces toilet papers, sanitary facilities like liquid soap and hard soap. We may delay for around a week, but I can assure you we are launching soon the brand of church products, so that our children can be sold quality, but as well as on a proper price, slightly lower than the market price, because we are not profit driven. No, we are kingdom driven, meaning whatever we do, we want to promote that brand where somebody will be comfortable to use it, but also in the future say, because of this, I became this. So that's our purpose.
Okay. Actually, thank you for elaborating that, because last time someone asked, when is that coming on board? But yes, good enough, you have you have given us.
The target was this month, but some logistical problems, because we want to launch with products which are already branded. Now, the ones we had were not branded, so we are in the process of branding now. So we shall still get back here on Church of Uganda Family TV and tell you that the products are launched, and when that time comes, we shall even have samples here for you, our viewer, to be sure that what you're buying is really this product that we are talking about. Now, Reverend, at the other time we introduced the dynamics of running our family business, and you took us through quite a number of, especially the types of family businesses. Now, today we want to look at the success of this family business. What are the signs that this family might live to last, or might not see its third or first birthday? Mainly,
I think we start with the signs of a successful,
a healthy enterprise. So because you see, one of the signs is of a good person, you'll see it physically. So signs of a good and health family business: number one, you have happy employees. That people who are working, when you are moving around, you will see them very, very happy. Why? Because, human beings determine whether business will continue or not. And, as especially Christian businesses, family businesses, we must focus on people first. So happy employees. Yes. And of course, people are waiting for the word profit, and they will get shocked. That is not among the signs. Hey. Yes, it'll come to it. So number one, happy employees. Number two, satisfied suppliers. Supply chain involves people who give you raw materials. Others, if you have like a supermarket, they will bring their goods and put them there. The capacity for you to pay back in time, for you to attract them to bring more, for you to get people, they give you 100 million without even you paying, means that they are satisfied. So suppliers must be satisfied. The third category of human beings are regular and consistent customer base. That you see, somebody will leave, for example, St. Cathedral, which I go to. We sometimes leave home and go for 16 kilometers. Pass, if you count churches, I read a book by Dr. Zach. If you count churches, we have a church per like square kilometer. You get it. You pass so many churches, but what are you going to look for in that church? And you see, that's the challenge of running businesses, that we must focus on satisfying a customer so that they come back, but also begin marketing you. The biggest marketing situation is not going on TV. Of course, come to family TV. For us, at least, we can advertise. But it's mainly when somebody refers a product to you, that you say, I bought a certain product in this shop, in this place. I got eggs from this family. Please run there, because their eggs are good. So a regular but very consistent customer base, that you are not worried about people coming to you. Then the last category is the board of directors in terms of human beings. That is staff, employees, then the family, plus also the directors are able to frequently interact. And so one of the signs of a healthy business is that directors are frequently meeting, staff are frequently meeting, the management, top management are frequently engaging one another in strategies. So those can also meet, like in an AGM, in an annual party. They normally make parties in December, and family TV together with church commissioners. I can assure you, we shall go to Nabuga Holiday Center. It is a sign that all departments, directors, top management, lower management, support staff, drivers are all happy because of that business. So that's the human angle. But the non-human angle has also 3 to 4 aspects. Number one, that you must pay all statutory obligations. National Social Security Fund, you are paying if you are eligible. And these days, by the way, if you had the minister yesterday, they were saying that even if you have one employee, you can what? Previously, the law was talking about 5. But now it is even 1. Even if you are not working, actually, you can begin saving. So, statutory obligations, you are paying pay as you earn, you are paying VAT, you are paying withholding tax, you are paying NSSF, you are paying national water and sewage corporation, you are paying electricity, you are paying lifts. I'm now using church house because you are actually paying all of those, and we are up to date. Then number 3 is, if you have a debt, are you able to service it in time? Now, it is not actually proper to say that a business can run without a debt. No, it is okay to go into debt. Others are credit facilities. Others are simple loans to help you, get more goods and services. But the question is whether you are able to service that debt in time. And I want to thank God for Equity Bank, really, that, for this church house, they gave us a debt, a loan, and we are now servicing it properly. It is a sign of health. We may not be where we want to be, but we want to thank God for that bank, but also for the church to have capacity to now periodically pay without distress. Then also audited accounts. Now, many businesses, and this is interesting because I'm telling people who hate the auditors, they don't like auditing accounts. Why? Because some of them fear that they might see that the business is about to collapse. Others will fear that auditors might find a structural problem to be corrected. Others might fear that auditors will know how wealth they are. But let me tell you, a proper healthy business, you must have periodic audited accounts, so that eventually those accounts will show you what they call cash flows, statements, financial statements like balance sheet, to know that, by the way, you are either growing or you are stunted. Now, many businesses are like that of my mother. I asked her, she normally grows beans and peas and what. I asked her why she asks for money to grow every year. Yet, their previous year, she said, no, when you calculate, you can't be in agriculture. And I understood her to say that if you have audited accounts, you may never go back and what? Put those seeds in the soil. Because when there is a loss, you can't know. Yeah. When there is a good gain, you can't know. If you have several businesses and one is doing well and you have audited accounts, then you are able to know, let me concentrate on this one, maybe let me close this. But without any audited accounts, I can assure you there is a challenge. Then finally, I talked about the board staff and top management.
Yes.
But they what they call periodic board and top management meetings. Periodic meaning, like Church Commission Holdings Company Limited, every quarter we must meet. Must. Why? Because that's where financial reports are given, human resource reports are given, works and services are given. So that's when the board begins asking questions. And sometimes they are very serious questions, to the extent that actually that period becomes a tenuous period for people who are working in offices. But that's okay, so that you are not simply there, because companies exist for those families. You are supposed to advance the vision of the family, but also sustain the family. So if the family boards are not meeting, then nobody will question, even if things are being lost, even if we are attaching houses and attaching property, nobody will sit and say, by the way, we need to change this. So you need regular and periodic board meetings with resolutions, top management meetings with recommendations, and ensure that when you recommend, okay, buy this land, in the next board meeting or in the next top management meeting, ensure that you are asking whether that land was bought within the timelines. So the challenge is also meeting just as family members, and you are not really serious on the reason of meeting. So basically those are the signs. Did I talk about profit? No,
you didn't.
And the reason is this. Please listen, because many people now look at the profit. How much did I?
And we think that signs of a successful business is how much you get profit.
If you really now mind about how much you have earned. For example, let me give a simple example. 10 years ago, the dollar rate was 2,500.
Yes.
Today, it is 3,700 average. Now, if you think you got a profit of 1,100, okay, I'm now using simple math.
Yes.
Let me assume you got 1,100 shillings as your profit. Eventually, because the dollar rate was 2,500, if you add 1,100, The answer is 2,600.
600.
So you have lost 100 shillings. Simply because of the exchange rate. So we can't now depend on profitability without checking all those liquidity ratios. How much available cash do you have? What about revenue? And then turnover. Turnover means my shop is selling quickly and I'm able to do what? Those are better measures than simply profitability. But I can assure you, many people it is this year. Yes. I have gotten now more 1 million. But check other things. Inflation 10%. Check other things, foreign exchange, devaluation. So is that 1 million after 1 year equivalent to 1 million before 1 year? The answer is no. There is what they call time value of money. That the money you have today is better than the money tomorrow. That I mean, that if I spend today and purchase properly, I am better than the one who will spend it tomorrow. Because money tends to go what? Down, not up. And we call it time value of money. That it is better to invest now than waiting for 2 years to invest. Because you can't invest in the same what amount. And I have given again a classic example. So if the dollar rate was 2,500 and now it is 3,700, if you got a profit of 1,200, now you have broken even.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the same.
Yes.
In terms of measuring, the palette of measuring, you haven't made any stride. But if you made 1,100, you are in reverse. Reverse means you are looking blind. So profitability, yes, it is a measure, but really, plainly speaking, we need to look at all those aspects before we look and focus on profit. And I deliberately left it out because I know many of us are looking at how much have they added on my salary at the end of the year. I can assure you, if we are paying rent, now it is also a good example, if we are paying rent of 20,000 in last year, and then you are now paying 40, because sometimes landlords can multiply by 2. But your salary is simply increased by 10%. It means that you now need to shift to go for a house of 22,000, not 40,000. So it means that actually the rate of increase of your salary is not equivalent to the cost of living. That fuel now is 6,000. Remember, it was 3,800. So transport costs are higher. So you need now a salary that is actually in a multiple of like 30% plus. If it is not, then you know that you are in a loss. Yes, even as a business, we used to transport beans, posho at a slightly cheaper price. Now diesel went higher than petrol one time. Meaning transporting of commodities will be higher than transporting human beings. And therefore, we had maize brand skyrocketing, beans going high. One time beans was, they were being sold at 5,000, even 7,000. And the cost of living became so difficult that actually many people, I know some families which shifted to the village. Why? Because the cost of living at one time was so high. So profitability, yes, but it is not a good sign to measure what?
To measure the success of
the health of the company.
Okay. Reverend, there is something that people always stick to. You talked about audits, periodic audit, but there is also what they call bookkeeping.
Yes.
How important is this bookkeeping, and just to make it different from audit, so that someone can really know the beauty of bookkeeping and the beauty of auditing, but they all look separately?
Yes, very interesting, because you audit books of accounts. In other words, you need a company that periodically, makes bank reconciliation. Bank reconciliation means we put this money into the bank, there are bank charges, then we withdraw this. At the end of this month, how much is in the bank, how much went out, how much came in, so that you are now able to say, I think I am not losing, either through bank losses, through foreign exchange losses. And by the way, there are so many losses if you are not checking. Now let me go to primary level.
Yes.
Mobile money transactions. It is normally good to get your phone and check all your transactions. And you'll find that you are a millionaire of some sort because money passed through your mobile phone. But it's good to check, by the way, these transactional charges, what were they? Now the good thing with the service providers today, they charge 1,000 to send and rest. But previously, you would now ensure that one service provider, you send another service to the same service. Otherwise, you'd have intertransactional charges that are so high. So bookkeeping,
depending on how much you are sending.
So bookkeeping is very key to family businesses. In fact, big family business ensure that you bookkeep every day. You balance every day. I had an uncle, he would balance his books of accounts every day. He had a shop, and evening he would take talk. Then, but there is when it is so huge, and so you do what they call sampling. You just go to a certain shelf and count, and then assume generally that things are okay. So that when there is shoplifting is people what? Taking your goods, you are able to know. But also books of accounts will help you to know whether things are bad in the short run or not. What do I mean? If things are bad in 1 month, you should know that, by the way, if we continue doing this, by the end of the year when the audit comes, we would have collapsed. So those bookkeeping details will now help you to say, we are spending a lot on electricity. So how can we reduce on electricity? Where do you get it? From the books of accounts. Then you can also say, expenditure on salaries is so high, or medical, or water. I mean, it can be anything, but you can only tell that through bookkeepings. And then, when you're a good bookkeeper, you can even have what they call periodic comparisons. That I compare last year with this year. Like Family TV, I already know that, from January to June last year, we've done better from January to June of this year. It is through comparison that, we are seeing here, we are now seeing here. So you become proud because there is a positive increment. But if you are not keeping any book, if you are not actually writing, and I want to really encourage people, please write what you input, farm inputs. If it is chicken, you write the mash you have bought, whatever you have bought, what you are paying workers. It is simple bookkeeping, and don't complicate. Because of course accountants, and I'm not one, sometimes complicate balance sheet, cash book, what and what. No, have this normal record. I have paid workers, you put. I have paid for transport, put. I have paid for medicine, put. Total payment, this. The amount of eggs, this. Then I have sold. So that simple bookkeeping will actually tell you whether your business is doing well or it is not doing well. And when it is not doing well, bookkeeping will now help you to do what they call interventions. Either to go for a loan, or like me and my wife to say, now chicken business for now, bye. But we are now restarting. Okay. But another type to sell when it is 1 month old. Broilers actually. Okay. And we have already estimated that in the near future, you and your wife will come and enjoy part of our profits. Okay. Yes.
Wow. Yes. So, Reverend, there is something before we leave out the success, the signs of a successful business. There is something you talked about last week, the other time. extensively. That is the aspect of commission and bonuses. So someone had a concern where they bring in, let me say, more profits. For instance, maybe an item is supposed to be sold at 100,000, and they sell it at 150. So when they report this money, they expect the boss to give back a bonus. How is that supposed to be recorded, and how is it supposed to be 100?
Three things actually. I wanted to say two, but three. Number one, a commission should go to the company. I think, let's be very clear, that if you give me thank you, you are thanking me as a company, as a business, as a family. So there is no way you thank the CEO when you are not thanking a company. It means that they are what we call pecuniary interest. It is an inducement. You are inducing him as a boss, so that in the future when you come, I receive you with the two hands and hug you, give a chiga hug. So a commission, number one, should go for the company. Number two, it is a chain. You may be the one selling, but there is somebody who packed it. There is somebody who transported you. So if the bonus or the commission is only to go to you, what about others? Okay, let me put it now in a family perspective, because this is important. And it helps in business ethics. Because eventually when it is you getting bonuses, others will now go on a slow strike. We are here talking in this TV because somebody is in the machines. Technical what? And I know my friend who sometimes laughs when we are talking is in front of us holding a camera. So each one of us, yes, the roles and responsibilities may be higher, but each one of us matters. Now, a proper family business with ethics on commissions and bonuses, everybody matters. You distribute it. Then finally, if it is a bonus, it is because the business has done so well and we have gotten profits, so we can give the 13th check to everybody. We can also say this Christmas each one of you is going to get a gift hamper, but it is within the policy. Now, and I hope I'm explaining to somebody, put it in the policy. If it is a date, put a date policy. If it is commissions, bonuses, put in a policy so that what you are doing is out of what is written. But the challenge is, it was a commission. Then, in the future, for example, if you sold something worth 100,000, 150, and they give you a bonus, do you think if a person realizes that you sold more, they will come back to that company? Never. No. Especially, of course, my wife is watching me. She's well aware, even if it is a supermarket and they add 2,000, I can assure you she will never go back to that supermarket. So, while commissions and bonuses may look innocent, in the long run, they devalue the company, they devalue business ethics to the extent that many people will shun your company. Why? Because it was individuals who are gaining from it. So again, Jasper Tumuhimbise, I never receive commissions. I'm a commissioner, yes, thank God, but I don't receive commissions. If you call me, and many people have called me, I normally say deposit that money to the company what? Account. And then during the Christmas, we shall have donations, and we can all go to the beach, Nabugabo Holiday Beach, and enjoy. But this business of giving you a commission, it looks nice, but it's an inducement.
Sometimes it is called a handshake.
Yes, and in fact, a handshake. And the parliamentary committee really shook their hands. But I actually wrote an article last Saturday in the Monitor. It was about that. Gifts, commissions, and bribes. And sometimes it is difficult to separate any of those. Why? Because, again, I give you a commission and I come back. I will expect you to give me what? to give me that business. Why? Because surely we ate together, we drank together. And the law says, the Leadership Code Act and other laws, they say if it is a gift less than 100,000, like lunch, a pen, what you take. But anything beyond 100,000, and you're a public servant, you declare it to your boss.
Yes.
And then if it is a farm, they take it to the government farm. If it is a cow, if it is now something else, they will now use it for the public, but not for you as a private individual.
Wow. Thank you so much, Reverend. We are taking a short commercial break, and when we return, we shall start from there. We are still looking at dynamics of running a family business. Stick with us. Thank you so much for watching Church of Uganda Family TV. This is the Family Hour. And just in case you're joining us, we started way back at exactly 9. This is the second part of this show. We are looking at the dynamics of running a family business. And in the past session, we looked at signs of a successful business, but we rounded it down with the issue of commission, which always raises very many questions. Case in point, Reverend, is what I earlier brought, that someone is selling for some business, but they survive on that commission. And the threat would be that maybe employers might mistake this and say, okay, so we are supposed to gather all this money and not to consider the commissions anymore, because we want to keep our books clean.
There are those who pay based on the sales, that I will pay you a commission based on the sales. Like really these commission agents buy insurance, we have brokers, all of those are paid based on the commission. But the good thing, that commission is a percentage. And it is clear. Let me give a clear example of newspapers. They pay by commission. But you will not find Daily Monitor, New Vision being sold more than 2,000.
Exactly.
Why? Because that's the shelf price. What is wrong is when you increase the shelf price to increase your commission.
It's supposed to be sold at 2,000, you sell it at
2,500, so that you get a bigger commission. Then I will not buy. And therefore, in the long run, it kills the newspaper. But what we are dealing with is, I go sell newspapers, I sell many, and there is a clear commission. Like even these mobile phones, it is clear that you enter an agreement, if you are an agent with a service provider, that all sales attract 70%, for example. And at the end of the month, you are even quickly attracting customers, so that your principal, who is the family business or a business, will gain, but you're also gaining through turnover, not one item, like those who sell land. They really want to get, and with all due respect again, for me, if I'm selling, I don't use them. Why? Because they will go to the buyer, tell him, add 5 million. Go to the seller, you will give us 5 million. Total 10. But, so, if I can deal with the buyer, I will go directly to the buyer. And you see, that's why now unethical business behavior enters. That they are no longer looking at giving a good, connecting people. They are looking at how much am I getting out of this deal. So again, commission is yes, you can use it as a salary, as something to encourage people to work harder, but ensure that is based on a percentage, so that your employee is not facilitating absurdity. Because the moment people know you are expensive, they will not come.
Exactly.
So where will the commission come? I hope I have clarified this. So it is I am selling newspapers, the shelf price is this. I went to a supermarket recently, I think about one year ago. Now it is 1 year. I was surprised. The shelf price has no VAT. So when I went to the counter, I added VAT. Of course, I wrote it on my Twitter account that this is my last visit to the supermarket. And by the way, it was my last. And as a family, we have blacklisted it. Okay, we are not necessarily rich to blacklist what, but in our own capacity. Even the other time, the child was saying, let's pass. I said, this one cheated me. Full stop. Why? Because the shelf price is not equivalent to the counter price. You have shown me bread is 6,300, but I'm adding VAT on bread, which is 18%. Of course, that could be little money. But in terms of business, yes, I can assure you, such a person deserves to cross. I even raised it with URA, of course, because again, that's where people are getting double and then selling, giving URA their money. Because VAT is, actually, you even get some returns, and I don't want to go that side. But you people do something that is ethical to promote a brand, especially if you are in a kingdom, but also if it is a family. For family generations to continue. And in Uganda, families are up to 26%. 26 generations which have continued. I read, the Dr. Matama has written about it, but the other newspaper articles say it is up to 26%. Others don't survive. The reason of lack of survival is not that it is not a good business idea. It could be very good. But those ethics, again, for me, I detest people who want to cheat others. And I can assure you, me, I don't buy, even if I'm only one. I don't go for people who have cheated me.
But of course, you started by talking about referrals. Yes. Of course, when one is cheated, they'll not refer. Yes.
That go there at your own risk.
Yeah.
And if you see, service industry thrives on referrals.
Yes.
That, for example, I visited the hospital recently, and I even tweeted. They began treating my wife before I paid. Okay, I said, I thank God I'm in Uganda. Because I had never seen it. I had ever seen where they say you must clear, but we go to hospital, they begin working, they even never cared about money, they cared about life. And I can assure you, even when I have a cough, I visit. The other day, even just went, I had no disease, and went on the counter, I said, you need to check my body. You get it? Why? And I'm referring that hospital to many people. But others, it is as if it is a crime to fall sick and go to their hospital, even when you have money. And sometimes you treat a customer when you don't know them.
Exactly.
And you don't know where you will meet them.
Yes.
I prayed and pray that you'll be like me. Treat everybody nicely, because they might be your next bosses. Let me repeat that before we transit. That treat that customer nicely, because they might be your next boss. They might be your next doctor. And it's a tragedy when you meet somebody whom you really hurt, and you are so sure that they know you hurt them, and they are the ones in charge of your life. Where will you go?
When you talked about the hospital, it reminded me of a certain hospital I went to this afternoon. And now I had to wait for the bill for close to 3 hours. And each time the nurses were coming in, they were like, oh, we are sorry, but you know, those things take long, and it happens everywhere. I was like, no, it happens only here.
It is only here. Yes. But even if it is everywhere, you change everywhere.
Be different.
Because you see, and that's what I really encourage my staff to be. You can't use the reason that everywhere is a disaster, so you become a disaster. Actually, I sack you. You need it to tell me, because you see, light is known because of darkness.
Yes.
Goodness is known because of bad. So the more the darkness, the better the light. let me again tell you, I will want to be a light in darkness. I would want to make a very nice business enterprise in Uganda where others are failing. I would want to be a better officer with integrity, with values, where everybody almost is losing hope. Why? Because that will define me. And again, I said the other time that your value will take you where your money can't take you, where your experience can't take you. And I can assure you, I have gotten as a consultant now very many jobs simply because of referral. When you give to Jasper, you will finish in time. So today I have even, no time to take on jobs.
Not like tailors.
I refuse. Tailors, carpenters. But there's a good carpenter, and he must be watching.
Reverend, we've talked about all this, and you've talked about the unethical manner as one of the reasons as to why some businesses fail in Uganda. But what other reasons cause some of these businesses to leave? If they see the first or second birthday, they might not live to see the 50th.
The third birthday, yes. So the first reason is ethical, that people no longer produce quality. You remember we had the Kiwi.
Yes.
We had the Yamato shirt. I don't want to talk about brands which are current. But when you mention a petrol station, what comes to mind is a certain brand.
Exactly.
So, ethical behavior will brand you. And branding, therefore, will live beyond generations. If you don't brand properly, if you are unethical, let me tell you, even before you die, your business would have died. That's number one. Two is you need to separate family from family business. Family means family, blood relations. Family business means you are running a business as a family. Please separate them. And of course, me and my family, we have been hurt regarding this, that you would get a salary, put all of it in a business. So you can't even separate. So you are ever distressed. You can't separate family activities from business activities. When you go out to eat chicken, somebody is calculating how much you are losing because you are eating chicken from out. So you need to separate those luxury moments from these moments that we have chicken at home. We cost it at 20, so I can't eat one piece at 20. You get it? No, separate those so that family remains family, business is also business, and there are clear boundaries. That here we are doing business, but here we are family. So, number 3, nepotism. Now, in the family, we love some children and love more some children. And so when it comes to decisions on who to give, you begin looking at the other favorite. And I'm really talking this with a pinch of salt because partly I grew up where I felt that I'm not loved as. And so because of that, other children will shun the business. They will not enjoy it. They even actually, if they have an opportunity, kill it. Why? Because there is nepotism. You are preferring one child over another. If you are deploying, if you are even making a will, you begin writing, this one will take this. I can assure you that means your generation will end with you. Why? Because there is preference. Number 3 is succession planning. Succession planning is mainly, please, if you can write this. Many people die without wills.
Exactly.
You have a business, you have estates, you have certain houses, and then you die without a will. It means you never planned succession, because you need now to bequeath whatever you have to people who will now propagate your vision. So there is a big challenge that Ugandans, we don't like writing will. I met one who said that if you write a will, you will die quickly. So I don't know where we got that, but it's very good, in fact, to put your house in order. That's what the Bible says. put your house in order, you will die. Hezekiah, that's when he prayed. Oh God, 15 years were added, but he still died. So it is very good to put your house in order, that in case I die now, in case I'm incapacitated, in case I go away, then 1, 2, 3 should be able to happen. Then we also have emotions and opinions and entitlements. Now the biggest challenge in family business is that we put emotions there. That you see, the other day you lost, now you have also lost again. Now you are mixing again emotional immaturity with the business acumen. And therefore you can't trust either your wife or your husband. You can't trust your children. You even can't trust yourself.
Hey.
Yeah.
That is how serious it is.
Yes, because you are emotionally immature. You can't say that, okay, I made a mistake, let me learn from it, let me push like this. So in families, you'll find there is distress. That is you who made us lose. And they are pointing fingers. Now we begin saying, by the way, I'm a man here. I'm the breadwinner. You joke with me. And so, especially when wife is working with husband, sometimes emotions coming. If they are immature and the husband is working with a secretary, a lady, challenges, you get it. So you mix now those, they are bound to fail that business. Then another challenge in Uganda mainly is informal structures. You see saloons working. You say, let me put up a saloon. As if the heads have increased. By the way, the heads will even lose hair as we grow. But you just put up without a business plan, without putting structures. Where will I get this one? Where will I get this worker? Where will I buy this? So, informality. And you know, we are in Uganda, really many people are informal.
Yeah.
There is one whom I told, and he said, if you put English in business, you will fail. Meaning, if you become formal, you will fail. I want to encourage you, please put down your ideas, put down your thoughts.
I think it's the reason very many businesses fear to register.
Yes, yes, exactly. For them it is, hey, you are a SB. Then they close and go for another business. Then also training. You know, many people think that they don't need relevant training to become better managers. But I can assure you, Jasper Tumuhimbise, I read books, but I also have trained to be a leader. I have trained to be a manager, but I also train. It is very good to pick in your family people and send them for what? For training, for them to have this idea of the whole world, and they are able to take over your heart, your businesses. So if you have children who are in business, others are in accounts, please train them to be better so that they are able to run their businesses professionally, but also they get relevant training to propagate business. Then the second last is high turnover of non-family members. When family members are in charge, most workers will run away. Why? Because their decision is final. They begin treating others as if they are not, they are lesser. Why? Because they own, they are directors. So normally, when you find a child or a relative in charge, there will be high turnover of staff. I read a book. In Uganda, there is a lot of high turnover for family businesses. People are never satisfied. Why? Because the boss is there because they own money, not because they are trained to lead. Then,
and what happens actually in such a situation is everyone can give orders.
Yes.
The wife can come from nowhere, but because this is the boss's wife, then they start also giving orders.
Yeah, and you are all supposed to stand. When she enters, you are all supposed to what? To stand. And beginning asking. No, let there be structures of asking. If you have a challenge as a business, I mean, like me, in a church house here, I normally pass security, even this evening. I had time, so I parked the vehicle, went for security. what am I doing? It is not that I want to order around. No, it is I want to say, okay, you register here, you do this, they treat a person like this, so that now as a landlord or as somebody who is up there, you are able to solve problems for the better. But not to come and, don't you know that I'm a boss? Don't you know I own this building? Okay, this guy has come to secure the building. And it is better for you to come slowly and respect his space. Otherwise, we had a man in our village, he had a security guard. And then he said, this guard oversleeps. So, unfortunately for him, he climbed the wall to prove that this guard oversleeps. So the guard began beating him up. And he began saying, I'm the boss, I'm the boss. The guy really hit harder. So the next day when he was dismissing him, the whole village refused. Why? Because the guy was doing his job. Climbing walls means that I beat you. So he was promoted instead. So what we are saying, you're a family member, you have a business, but come. See how customers are being served so that you change for the better. But don't come and boss around. And then, hey, don't you know me? Please stand. No, I actually visited 2 printing companies recently. I was surprised, greatly surprised by those family businesses. The boss will enter, nobody will even bother. They are busy working. And I wrote in my diary that I would want a company like that, where people are working and the boss is coming in or getting out, or visitors. Has no consequence. They are busy. They are busy, full stop. And 5 p.m. when they are to go home, that's it. Boss, it really doesn't talk away. So another thing, one more is in emergency situations, families don't thrive. Emergency, like during COVID, families were distressed more. Why? Because they thought they have put all the eggs in one basket. And so there is fatigue normally, and the war of changes that the environment has changed. It is so difficult. So families will meet to sort out a crisis rather than to plan for better businesses. Let me repeat it, because when COVID hit us, families began meeting to survive, not to cause businesses. But those who met to create businesses now became better. But normally during emergency situations, it is panic mode. Daddy is panicking, mommy is panicking, children are panicking, so businesses will die. So I pray that, out of some of these discussions, you begin saying an emergency situation is an opportunity, not a threat. And therefore we can use these opportunities. If you have like a supermarket, you now begin delivering. If you have an internet cafe, how can I promote Zoom? So I'm trying to encourage family businesses that when an emergency comes, even a sickness, somebody falls sick and the whole business closes. No, we should have systems where if mama and dad are not around, then somebody is able to run. But when the emergency situation strikes and the whole thing halts, then there is trouble.
Reverend, what are your parting shots as we wind up this discussion of dynamics of running a family business?
The parting shots is that, again, Jesus talked about more on business than heaven. And so, I want to encourage men and women to begin planning for businesses. So that, recently, because of school fees distresses, that's when I checked that it can be tough. Where, because of lack of businesses, our children remain at home. And many schools are saying, you pay and the child enters. You don't pay, no entry. And so, because of those distresses, we need now to begin putting a foundation of businesses in our generation so that our children will not struggle like us. Instead, they will now you have a foundation, they will become walls, and later you have a roof. There are so many businesses in Uganda which are actually succeeding. But there are so many, I mean, up to 74%, which also collapse. The reasons of collapse we have given, and I pray that now we will plan as a family. Actually, this evening, call the whole family, have a family council, begin discussing business opportunities. Recently, together with one of our children, me and my wife, actually that was Saturday, we were discussing a certain business idea, and the child has picked it. And I can assure you, within 2 years, there will be a change in that child, but also a change in our in our business, not in our business, in our finances, for the better. Because God encourages us to be better rather than bitter. But you look at Christians, it is a replica of the books of Lamentations. Lamentations. If I had this, if I had this, if I had this. God has given you opportunity. Your head has a mind, so that you are able to think and then do what? Do business. Finally, if reading Genesis chapter 11, specifically verse 6, these guys in a land called Shinar, Shinar is Babylon, met and said, let's build a tower to reach heaven. That's a very nice business facility, business idea. They began building. Now what I want to say, as they built, God came down and saw and said, listen to what he says, and it is important because that's what I want to end with, that if these people can plan together, nothing will be impossible for them. And he gave them different languages, babbling, the Tower of Babel. That's where babbling comes from. So the good thing with that story is that God saw people planning together, and that whatever happens, they can be able to overcome it. I pray that as a family, you'll sit together, plan it together, and whatever you plan, I can assure you, nothing will be impossible, God being your helper.
Thank you so much, Rev Jasper. It's been a pleasure, and this has really been an insightful discussion, but also a challenging discussion. And I believe as a family, like Reverend has said, this is a time of reflection now to see what is not right. Thank you so much for watching Family Hour today. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. I've worked with Norman Nkonte, Omulangira Webulamoji on camera, Didmas Talemwa in transmission, Nancy Kemigisha on social media, and a very big team, of course, putting things together so that you can have this image. Next is Soul Moment. You do not have to miss it. Good
and
night.
A movie?
And a movie at 10:30.
I hope I would have reached home. But all of these need bonuses. That's what I was telling you. That if you get the bonus, then Omuranjira must also get the bonus. God bless you.
Good night.